Hey everybody, Spider here, Coming Soon podcast. Of course, being joined by the people behind the Pumpkin Man. Of course, the names are on there, but introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sheets. I'm the director of The Pumpkin Man, and I also play the Pumpkin Man.
Hi, I'm Janae Muchmore. We are husband and wife, so
Yes,
I
that too.
was brought into this via our relationship, but had an absolute blast. I helped write the script, I helped produce it. I was an assistant director at times when Ryan would be playing the Pumpkin Man, and I did a lot more. I make a cameo in there as well, so it was a lot of fun.
Man, well, that's interesting because I didn't know you played the Pumpkin Man. So right off the bat, that's kind of
Yep.
kind of cool, man. Because I mean, you set a role, you set a plan. I mean, was it hard for you to play that role once you set your as far as your vision?
I kind of felt like the only way to get my vision across was for me to play the Pumpkin Man because I had
Oh,
a very specific way that I wanted the character to walk and act and move. And also, it was also a liability thing because we wanted the Pumpkin Man to be very tall. And if you've ever seen me at a convention like Spooky Empire or Spookala, I am on stilts, so I'm
oh.
around 7.5 feet tall. And just for liability's sake, I wanted to take that risk on myself, and instead of putting another actor in stilts.
Oh man, well that's pretty cool, man. Because of course, I mean, you just introduced yourself as husband and wife. I didn't know that either.
Mhm.
But was that part of the vows? I mean, when you guys agreed, you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna make movies. You're gonna help."
I mean, we've been making movies since before we got married, but
Oh,
that
nice.
was definitely like that was part of it, part of the agreement. We
Well,
have to keep making movies.
it was part of it, but also at the same time, like I grew up with a video camera in hand, and it was me and my cousin making videos and music videos together. So this was really a lifelong dream for both of us, and it was one that I had long forgotten about and just kind of moved on from until I met Ryan. And now we had the chance to actually make both of our dreams come true throughout this process. So it was pretty cool to see our work on the big screen at the premiere last September and be able to celebrate the success and how far he's come, having done Pumpkin Man shorts for 7 years, and how far our dreams have come.
No, yeah, you see, and I was gonna ask you about that because I mean, if you Google it, I mean, it does come back, and I was like, man, you guys been at it for a while. So of course, I mean, when it comes to making movies, you would think, man, I wish I could make one in a month, but I mean, there's a process.
Yes,
There's
sir.
timing, there's budget, of course, so it's gonna take a while. But I mean, did you plan for it to take this long, or were you kind of prepared for it?
Well, in the most technical sense, we actually had the movie done last September,
Okay,
but we had signed a distribution deal with Scream Team Releasing to actually get a wider release of the film, but they wanted to release it in 2023 rather than 2022. So we actually pushed it back by a full year, and what we decided to do with that extra time was we took all of the feedback that we got from our own premiere and everything
yeah,
that people had problems with, and we went back and fixed them. So
exactly.
the movie is actually much better than what we were planning on releasing last year because we had all this extra time to dedicate to it. I didn't think it was going to take 2 years to get the movie made and released, but I'm much happier with where it's at now than where it was last year.
No, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, you got to appreciate the time that you guys had a year to keep promoting it, to keep throwing it out there. I mean,
That
of
was
course, that's
hard.
how. Yeah, you see. So
That
we
was
found out
very
about it
hard.
here in Texas, man, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of. I guess it was planned. I mean, that's the way it had to go to make it what it is right now. Of course, I mean, you guys are going to be at the Houston Horror Film Festival. And how did
Yes.
that come about?
You know, when the film was done, our executive producer Jason Herman wanted to just submit it to every film festival we could find, just to get the word out. And we've been in many festivals. We've won 8 awards so far, and the Houston one. It's funny. People actually found out about that before I did, that it was playing at Houston. I didn't get any notifications or anything about it, and then people started asking me if we were gonna go because we are in Florida, and the film's
Right.
playing in Houston. We
Kind of
wanna
up in
go.
the air.
We want to go very badly, but we're still a little up in the air, uh, but yeah, everyone else knew before we did that it was gonna be in
Man,
Houston.
you see, and when it comes to Florida, we drove years back when I first went to Florida. I mean, we drove from here in San Antonio, and Texas is a big state, bro. Like
Yeah.
just to get out of Texas alone, I was like, damn, we're not even out of Texas yet. Um, Once we got to Florida, I was like, man, Pensacola. I'm like, dude, we're here, and it was still another 14 hour or 12
Yep.
hours, I think, because we still had to drive all the way down to Sarasota.
Yeah,
But
it's like two long states right
yeah,
next to each other, and it
no,
would take us a long time to get there.
yeah, I mean, definitely, man. And I know even back then, I mean, I drove halfway the first time I went out there, and one of the times we kept driving back and forth, my brother-in-law, man, and I drove all the way back one day, man, and I mean, I talk about jet lag, bro. It took me like a week just to, get my settings right. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But where in Florida are you guys?
We're in Orlando.
Oh, okay, cool, man. You see, and I mean, I hear Orlando, of course, man. I mean, Disney, everything that's right there on that side of Florida, man. There's a lot going on. Was that by any chance, did that influence you guys in filming? I mean, seeing all these action and all these props and
Absolutely.
Yeah,
oh,
100%.
man,
I'm a diehard Disney fan. I moved here for the theme parks.
nice.
But undoubtedly the biggest inspiration to us for this project in particular was Halloween Horror Nights at Universal.
Damn, dude, that's pretty cool, man. And of course, I mean, when it comes to the storyline, how long were you working on the story before you decided to make it into a film, or was it already in process? Was that part of the plan?
We decided to make another Pumpkin Man short film
First.
first. Yeah. And
That was 2021.
yeah, 2021, we made a short film called The Pumpkin Man Demon of Fall. It was a reboot of everything I had done before because I wanted to change a few things and iron out the character a little bit. And we didn't go into it expecting a feature. But we definitely showed it to the right person. And he was basically like, why haven't you made a feature? And the obvious answer was money. And he's like,
Right.
don't worry, I got you. So
Nice.
that kind of just fell into our laps, and we felt like we'd be stupid not to go after it.
No, for sure, man. Because of course, I mean, this is y'all's baby, right? I mean, you got to create it, and now you got to raise it and make sure it goes, able to walk and take off. But I mean, let me ask you. I mean, you say you wrote a reboot. Is there a sequel in the works, or was that part of it?
A sequel to the reboot?
No, to the Pumpkin Man.
There could be a sequel in the works.
And I'm just asking because I'm sure once, like you said, the reboot, of course, was back to kind of like, man, I should have done this, I could have done that. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure a lot more stories came out of that,
Oh
or a
yeah.
lot more possibilities. So we'll wait and see, man. But definitely, I mean, we'll take what we can now. I mean, of course, I mean, the
Yeah.
movie is going to be at the Houston Festival, like I said earlier. I'm going to be out there. I'm in San Antonio. I think Houston's like a 2-hour drive from here. It's not too bad. It's not Florida, so I'll take
Yeah.
it. But I mean, when it comes to horror, man, I mean, of course, I think Florida, when I was out there, it was the late 90s. I mean, I'm older. um when I got to Sarasota, there was nothing to do, bro. I mean, there was
Yeah.
nothing. It was, a retirement state. I found out the hard way. When we moved to Venice, we lived in Siesta Key, moved to Venice, and Venice, like, we went to go get groceries one day at Publix, right? Or I think it was Publix or another store. But my sister's like, yeah, we got to go early because they close early. And I was like, why do they close early? And she's like, everybody's goes to sleep early. Like and it blew my mind because I'm like, man, like 10:30, 11, I'm over here twiddling my thumbs trying to figure out what to do. It was like nothing to do. But yeah, I kept coming back home, for the summer, and then I go back again for a
Mhm.
few months. And, I liked it, man. But after a while, I was just like, man, I got to come home. This was it.
Yeah. I mean, outside of Orlando, there's not a whole lot to do unless you like the beach a lot.
Or
Yep.
if you're in a college town, places are open
Right.
later, and there's a lot more youth during the fall and spring semesters. But other than that, then it gets pretty slow in the summer.
Yeah, you see, and that's one of the things I had asked one of the co-workers. I worked at a store out there, and I was like, man, what do y'all do for fun out here, man? And he's like, man, we go to Tampa, and I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, bro, I ain't driving that far. It was like 3-4 hours, so it wasn't that far, but I was just like, man, I used to go hang out. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I did do what I could locally. Back then, I mean, I still listen to ska music, but in Sarasota, I don't know if you guys have been to Sarasota, Florida before?
Yeah, we
We
have.
have
Okay, well, yeah, I forgot the name of the downtown area, but there used to be a club, like 4 little clubs, one outdoor patio, but they used to play a lot of ska music. So they used to have a lot of bands coming through. And the first time I heard about, I was just like, man, somebody's jam. I thought it was a radio, and it turned out it was the Scatolites. So I was like, wow, dude, like,
That's
cool,
pretty cool.
man. It was pretty cool. After that, I kind of hung out there for a while. Just every opportunity I could. But other than that, I mean, I would have never known. I just kind of walk around and get lost. But man, let me ask you. I mean, the Pumpkin Man. I mean, the name itself is pretty self-explanatory. When you were coming up with the name for the movie, I mean, what were you guys thinking? I mean, did you have a couple other names in mind?
So that actually goes way back to when I was in college, because this whole thing started from a college short film that I had made, and it was a class project. And when I was writing the script, it was called the Pumpkin Chaser, and it was going to be a much different, like kind of almost like the Purge, where there was just going to be a guy in a black hoodie chasing this girl around on a college campus while wearing like a neon pumpkin mask. And eventually it started to change when I bought like this latex pumpkin mask that actually looked like a full jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
And the guy who played the Pumpkin Man originally, Jeff Rhodes, he suggested, why don't you just call it the Pumpkin Man? It's so much easier. And it's just been that ever since.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, right? I mean, I like, look at our name, Coming Soon Podcast, man. I mean, it was self-explanatory. It was like, hey, coming soon, and now we get to introduce all these movies that are coming soon, so it just made sense. Or I mean, of course, you guys have already landed, when it comes to the movie, but I mean, it's new to a lot of people. It's been picking up momentum. Now, I mean, keywords. I mean, I'm a big fan of. During the film, I mean, you said you played the character or the Pumpkin Man yourself because you wanted to be portrayed correctly, or to your ability, because obviously you know what you wanted. What about the other characters? I mean, like, your wife, I mean, she does a cameo. So did you kind of let her do her thing, like with the role?
Originally, he wanted me to play the main character because we didn't really know how far we could extend our resources. And he goes, can you play the main character? Because again, it goes down to that reliability thing. Can you be on set every day? Of course, I'm going to be on set every day if he's there. And I was like, man, I just don't know. Like, I'm not an actress by any means. That is totally my sister in my family. So unfortunately, she was in Indiana for college, so we couldn't cast her. And we just thought about it more and more. And I'm like, if you're playing the Pumpkin Man, then you can't really direct. And then if I'm playing the main character, I'm not going to have the time to step in and help direct when you're acting. So then it was just going to be this. I just imagined chaos on set if both of us were tied up playing roles instead of being behind the camera. So we ended up putting a call out on backstage.com just to see what kind of people we could get around the area to be interested and audition for the main character. And luckily we found Barbara Dessa. She played the role of Cat Quinn in this, and she actually brought in a lot of the cast and crew that we ended up working with. So we're incredibly grateful for her, because the movie probably would have been much different had I been the one playing the main character. So we kind of put me in. I'm a little bit of a bully in the opening school scenes, you'll see. And so my character, Karma, does come to bite me in the ass, but it was fun. I had a little bit of a role. I got to play some exciting parts toward the end of the movie, and it was enough to get my feet wet in the acting side of it. Nice. And to fill one role that we didn't want to have to rely on another person for, but still have me behind the camera to assist.
No, you see, and that's actually pretty cool, because one of the things when I talk to a lot of actors of past and movie makers, directors, a lot of it is like, man, we had 6 people, like the guy behind the camera had to play a role because we didn't have anybody else. They put a mask on and they were the villain, and you kind of had to do with what you had, So of course, with you guys, I mean, I know you mentioned the funds came in as far as support, but I mean, you would have done it either way, I mean, it's just like you said, it would have been a little different, but that's what makes it interesting, because you just want one person can definitely change everything, and the fact that if your husband, of course, if you wouldn't have played the character, it would have been a whole lot different, man. So I would imagine,
Yeah, it definitely would have been.
and you mentioned stilts earlier. You're walking on. Were you a performer, man? I gotta ask you.
Nope.
So how did that come about?
So we were looking at different options to because I'm only 5'9", I'm not very tall. So not tall enough to be this imposing monster. And we were looking at different options to to just get me taller. And everything that we were looking at, we just couldn't figure out how we would incorporate practically. Um, and for the short film, I was standing on like this
A box.
a
or step
box, yeah,
stool.
like this little step stool, but we knew that that wasn't going to last.
Yeah.
We wanted to show the Pumpkin Man doing more things in the feature film, so we just started considering stilts, and we bought this very very cheap pair from Amazon. And as soon as they were delivered, I strapped them on, and I walked around the apartment and kind of got somewhat used to it, and just I did that for about a week, and after a week I was totally comfortable wearing them. We've since upgraded to much better stilts that are much more supportive and allow me to walk on them for a much longer period of time. But yeah, I really just taught myself because it was a necessity.
Man, and I gotta ask you, man, how many times did you fall on set, bro?
Zero.
Wow.
No,
Okay. Cool,
a
man. So
few
you
times,
definitely got used to it.
a few times on purpose.
Yes, we
Okay, for
did.
the film, of course, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we did fall on purpose.
But we bought like this 20-inch air mattress that
I
he
was
could
gonna
fall
ask.
back onto, safely, of course. And then we weren't expecting the weights of the stilts to bring his feet way up into frame after he fell. So we had to figure on that. That
Yeah.
was a pretty funny blooper to watch back over and over again. But we didn't even end up using that shot anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, you see, I was one of the things for me, especially with films. A lot of movies do it now, but at the end of the movie, they put a lot of bloopers and they put like behind the scenes,
Mhm.
And is this film going to contain some of that or no?
So on the Blu-ray that's coming out this September, where we have this incredible like 50-minute behind the scenes documentary that our cinematographer put together. It's a fantastic little documentary on how we made the film. We wanted to do bloopers, but the unfortunate part is that we weren't setting aside the bloopers as we were going. So to do the bloopers now, I'd have to go back and look through all the footage.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lazy.
No, no, and I can only imagine. I mean, especially working on having worked on that film so long. I mean, the last thing you want to do is sit there and be like, "All right, let me
Let
catch
me go
everything."
through it
Man.
all
So many
again.
shots, so many reels. But man, I mean, when it comes to the stilts, I mean, you said you guys upgraded. Did you keep the old ones?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
they're
them
in
somewhere.
storage.
Yeah, we've got them somewhere.
Okay, cool, man. You see, one of the things that I personally like, man, and I go after, it's a lot of times with these indie films, Indiegogo, other outlets, they do perks, and I always like buying those weapons. I always like buying something
Oh,
from that
yeah.
movie to kind of have it autographed. How big are those stilts, bro? Like, are they like 4 feet?
They were, I think, 16-inch stilts,
I
Oh,
think
okay.
we adjusted to like
like 21.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big enough to make me tall, that's for sure.
And man, and of course, I mean, having done that, I mean, are you looking to? I mean, not just make other movies, but are you guys looking into acting as well?
I will pretty much step in wherever I need to. I also play another character in the film, so I'm not just the Pumpkin Man. You actually do see my face, and it's a really minor role that we just needed filled.
Right.
But I'm no stranger to acting. I've done plenty of acting in multiple films. It's not my preferred thing to do, but when it comes to my own films, or if a friend is helping out,
Right.
or a friend needs help or something with one of their films, I'll gladly step in. But for the most part, we're most comfortable behind the camera.
Yeah, it's not something we seek out. It's just if we
Right.
need to help somewhere, we'll do it.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. I mean, one of the things I've realized is a lot of producers, writers, for the most part, everybody that I've seen, it's a small circle. I
Yes.
mean, there's a lot out there, but I mean, it's so like everybody's close knit to where a lot of people do help each other. They promote each other's movies. They kind of like, hey, by the way, I want to thank so and so, making this movie, and I think that's cool because I mean, not every film's gonna be the same. I mean, I'm sure somebody can see your story and be like, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that. But I mean, it's not what you guys were portraying. But when it comes to actually making the film and calling it yours, I mean, it's got to be the best feeling in the world, man.
Yeah, I think it's really great to like at this point I'm sick of watching the movie. I've seen it more than anyone. But it's I do watch it back with pride every time because it's really cool that we can sit there and say, wow, we made that.
Oh man, I can only imagine. And of course, on this one, it's only going to be released on Blu-ray.
So the current plan is Blu-ray pre-orders go live September 5th
Right.
on screamteamreleasing.com. Then they will ship on September 19th. And then what we've been told by our distributor is that 3 to 6 months afterwards, it will go on digital platforms.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool, man. So of course, if they want to watch it soon, they got to order the Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And man, and let me ask you, when it comes to music, what kind of music background? I mean, what bands? Did you guys hire music or make music for this, as far as theme?
So I am my best friend of 28 years. Has it kind of worked out beautifully where I do movies and he does music. So
Nice.
So we really like help each other out and basically, I'm constantly turning to him saying, "Hey, I need you to score this movie." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, sure." So Connor Edvardi, he made a fantastic score to this film. There's some bits at the end where it's not him because we just ran out of time, but for the most part, like I would say a solid 90% of the film is all scored by him. And then we specifically wanted to get a song that was used in Halloween Horror Nights 30, which was the year 2021, because that was the year that we were writing the film. And as we were writing, I was going to Halloween Horror Nights after I'd get off work and go through their pumpkin themed haunted house like 7 times. And then I'd come home and then write the script. So I was like in the mindset. And we wanted to get the same song that was played at the event that year as like a tribute to what inspired us so much. And we were luckily able to get the rights to the song. And that song plays in the end credits of the film.
Oh, cool, man. Well, that's actually, for those that are watching, of course, it's just as far as inspiration and motivation, man, I'm sure,
Yeah.
So and can you tell us what movie it was? I mean, what song? I'm sorry.
It's a song that no one has ever heard of, but it's a song called "Inside the Machine" by Sergei Kolosov, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's a stock music song, but it became so like ingrained in our brains from Halloween Horror Nights that year that every time we thought about the Pumpkin Man, we thought about that song as well. So it was at a certain point, it became a necessity for us.
No, you see, and I gotta say, man, because when it comes to music, myself, I always tell people I was a fan of punk rock music before I knew what punk rock was.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the early 80s movies, that's what they played. They played a lot of new wave. They played music that it was underground, and a lot of them probably didn't get paid for it. They just kind of signed it over and like, put it in the film. So for me, I always look back and it's I personally look at punk rock music and horror in the same genre because I'm like, you know what, I grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
I expect the music in the background. When it comes to the actors, the storyline, of course, they got to be on cue. They got to in sync, but the music too, man, it helps. I want to kind of feel the movie and be like, all right, cool, man, get in that vibe, get on that same vibe.
For sure.
But man, well, let me ask you, outside filming, outside making movies, directing, writing, acting, doing everything you guys have been doing, what do you guys do on your days off, man?
We go to Disney and Universal. We spend, I would say, how much time do we spend there?
I mean, usually we'll make it to one of the 2 parks almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Unless we're out of town or something. But we live 10 minutes from Disney, about 20 to maybe 30 with traffic from Universal. So we're constantly there, whether it's, pop on over after work for an hour or 2 and take advantage of the slower wait times because of the fireworks or whatever shows they have.
Yeah, we were at Magic Kingdom last night.
Oh. Man, well, that's cool. I mean, when I lived in Venice, I was saying, I mean, the Venice Beach was like maybe like 6 blocks away from us,
Hmm.
and the first 3 weeks we walk over there. Oh yeah, let's go to the beach, watch the sunset. All the older folks would come out and just kind of sit down and watch it. Now I'm there, right? Um, but after a while, I kind of got old, and I was like, oh man, like I didn't want to stop. I didn't go as much. I just got started going like
Right.
once a week, and I mean, obviously, it hasn't happened to you guys, right? With everything around you guys.
I mean, it's hard to get tired of roller coasters. I
Oh
feel,
yeah, yeah, I agree, definitely.
Yeah, and between like Disney having 4 different parks and Universal having 2, soon to be 3 with Epic Universe in 2025, we kind of rotate. So last night we were at Magic Kingdom, but it'll probably be 3 or 4 weeks before we make it back to Magic Kingdom again. So next time we'll go to Epcot or we'll pop on over to Islands of Adventure at Universal. So we kind of vary it up so we're not always going to the same exact park. And then
Right.
when we're not at the parks, we do spend a lot of time with our dog and taking her on different adventures throughout Central Florida and different like trails that we call it hiking, but it's not really hiking because Florida's pretty flat, as most people know. But just getting her outside and letting her have adventures as well.
No, and of course, you guys, having the pet or just even walking out there, you got to be careful with the gators, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We've had some experiences, and we keep her away from bodies of water.
yeah, no, yeah, bro. I mean, we used to work when I worked out there. One of the jobs I went through this day labor the first few months that I got there, just because um, I was going to work with my brother-in-law doing painting houses and waterproofing and all this other cool stuff. But doing that day labor, like I went to, I was doing excavation, like in the middle of nowhere, man. Like there's gators walking around, and everybody's like, "Hey, watch your back, watch your feet," and I'm like, "Damn," like they were all over the place. Worked at Winn Dixie, one of the manufacturing places, doing the roof, which was freaking
Hmm.
hell. Like I'll never do that again. But ironically, man, back then this was like 96, 98, and the pay was great, man. Like even back then, I was getting $18, $22 an hour,
Wow.
and this is through a day labor. And when I came back home, it was like, oh yeah, $5.75, $6, and I'm like, man, no way, bro. Like it was just.
Yeah.
It didn't last. So I think the last time that I went to Florida, like all the pay went down, and it was just crazy. But I enjoyed it. I got to see a lot of cool stuff, man. A lot of places I would have never been to because of those jobs. They were like literally in the middle of nowhere, and kind of scary because they forget you out there, man. I don't know how you're getting home, bro. It's crazy.
I mean, speaking of different places around Florida, we actually had the privilege of shooting a lot of this movie at a local haunted house.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
nice.
in Plant City. So I would say probably about 30% of the movie takes place in this haunted house, and we have some really awesome scenes in the film that are the haunt is called Sir Henry's Haunted Trail, and they are just the nicest salt of the earth people.
Man.
They kind of monitored us the first day that we were there,
Yeah.
but then we've since shot there. I mean, I would say
Like
probably 10 times,
probably more than that at this point.
and it's at the point where like they are just so welcoming for us to show up and film there. And they attended our premiere and they loved the film.
Nice,
um
bro.
and now they actually have we gave them a banner which is hanging in the
Cool.
haunted
Heck yeah.
house, that says the Pumpkin Man filmed at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. So we've established a great relationship with them, and we can't recommend that haunted house enough because they are just the nicest people, and I mean, we're gonna go at least 3 or 4 times this year because
Yeah.
their experiences there are fantastic. Like aside from just being able to film there, like the actual haunted house
Right.
is amazing, especially
Man.
because it's built by just like 2 or 3
Yeah, really
people.
a close knit group
Wow.
of people, really the 2 main ones, Zach and Calvin.
Yeah.
But and they're extra or they're scare actors. We can't thank them enough because anytime we needed extras, they put out an all call to their staff
That's
and we'd
cool.
have, anywhere from 15 to 30 people show up for us.
And
So that was awesome.
if you want like a kind of like sneak peek at not only the Pumpkin Man but also the sets that Sir Henry's has and how great that haunt looks, check out our newest short film called Kerbis Awakens. Kerbis Awakened. which is it's basically a prequel to The Pumpkin Man. So this short film leads directly into the beginning of the feature film. So, it's not a required viewing, but it's a really awesome short film that was the closing chapter of an anthology series of short films that we did called Tales from the Book of Kerbis, which was basically just this project that we came up with to keep the hype for the Pumpkin Man alive over the year that we
Right.
had since we delayed the film. So each short film tackles a different character of Sa Wen, which is, we put our own little spin on each one of them, and Janae directed one of them, and our cinematographer directed another. And that alone was a really fun project. And the last two, Lady Gwen and Kerbis Awakened, were both filmed at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail, and it kind of shows like the quality of film that you can expect from the Pumpkin Man, and it also gives you kind of a preview of how awesome it is to film at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail and how much fun the movie is going to be because it was filmed there.
No, you see, and then I mean, there's a lot of cool things that I like about these movies, man. One of them, of course, with props. The other one being location spots, because on this coming weekend, for example, man, we're going to be going to the gas station here at Bastrop. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was filmed there, and so we're going to be out there enjoying the day and eating barbecue, because hopefully it's it's not.
Yeah, hopefully it's actual barbecue and not something else.
Yeah, bro. So I'm gonna check it out before I start chewing on it, man. But it's gonna be cool because the movies were filmed there, and it's kind of like you're saying, you guys partake in that haunted house, so now people can kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, man, this is where that film was, and it'll be iconic, man. That'd be pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Let me ask you, because of course the banner's gonna be there, man, but can people expect the Pumpkin Man to be there one day?
No promises yet. I do want to talk to the owner, and maybe for just one night, see if the Pumpkin Man can make an appearance. But we haven't talked about that yet. But it's definitely something I'm interested in. But I also, I want to be very respectful of their haunt and what they want to do. So I try not to like push too much. But if they're open to it, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, man, it'd be kind of like hey, you know what? I mean, the banner's gonna be there, so why not? People get the privilege, and I'm sure they'd love the exposure, just from friends and family just watching, or even people that are gonna watch from the release time, But that'd be pretty cool, man. I'd be happy to go somewhere and actually, see the character there himself, man. Cause that's
if we do make it to Houston, the Pumpkin Man will be there.
Nice, bro. That's what I was
every time we come to a convention like that, I get into costume.
Nice. And I mean, when you do that, I mean, do you a couple hours to set up? I mean,
no, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how long it takes me to get contacts in my eyes. That's honestly the hardest part.
Yeah, sometimes it can be 30 minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes my eyes just do not cooperate. I don't wear contacts, so but I have white contact lenses that I wear every time I get into costume, and yeah, that can take a long time. But as far as the rest of the costume, the mask is that hand. There we go.
Yeah,
right there. There's the mask. That mask, I mean, it slips right on. It doesn't require any prosthetics or anything. And then I just throw the jacket and everything else on, and we're ready to rock and roll. Man. Yep. It does take a team of about 2 to 3 people to actually get me into the stilts, but yeah, it is a production. The Pumpkin Man's a bit of a diva.
And let me ask you, I mean, of course, being on those stilts, I mean, the balance thing, man. I mean, you skateboard, you surf. I mean, how was the balance going on
there? Just practice. At a certain point, when you get used to it, it's like second nature. I mean, it truly feels no different than just walking normally. You have more weight below your feet that you have to account for. But I also think it depends on the stilts that you're using, because my first pair was it only had one support bar on the side, so it caused my knees to buckle quite a bit. But our new version, has support bars on both sides of my legs, so that also helps a lot with balance.
No, you see, and I'm asking because I mean, I still skateboard. I mean, I'm still as bad as I was in the '80s, right? But my balance was good. You know, I tried a unicycle one day. My buddy's like, "Hey, yeah, man, it's like skateboarding, bro." It was nothing like skateboarding, man. I mean, I think I was just like, I mean, you know, I thought I had good balance till I got on that thing, and I said, "Yeah, it's coordination and muscle because, you know, it was a lot of core, man. It was just
Yeah, you got to
crazy."
keep
But
moving.
yeah, yeah, that's true, and that's one of the things he kept telling me. He said, "Man, you got to keep balance, keep yourself balanced." And I gave up. I was like, "Man, I'm gonna get on my skateboard. I'm good."
Yeah.
But man, of course, when it comes to making movies, I mean, obviously, you guys enjoy making these. Do you enjoy watching movies? I mean, do you guys go to the theater like
Yes.
quite a bit?
Yep. We usually go to the theater, once every week or every 2 weeks. We subscribe to the AMC Stubs A list, so we can just pop in and see a movie. So, we our next movie will be Insidious.
Insidious.
Yeah, we need to see
And I
Insidious.
was gonna ask you, have you guys seen this? So not yet.
Not yet.
yet.
No,
Oh, okay, okay.
we were gonna see it on
Thursday.
Thursday, but our friends who have a YouTube channel, they wanted some help with a video that they were doing, and when it comes to us, it's like if someone asks for help on a video, we're there. We love helping out, especially with our friends.
No, man. Of course, I want to go see it Thursday. I won't spoil it for anybody. You know, it's just it's definitely a must see. You know, once you guys see it, I'll
Okay.
definitely message and see if. Well, I'm pretty sure you guys will post about it. You know, because
Yeah.
there's a couple of things on there that I did post on my page, and it's just, you know, that was my take. You know, but yeah, go check it out, man. Definitely, man. I mean, one of the things about movies, you know, like even like all this morning, I was up at 6:30. My girl got home, worked overnight, so I'm with the dogs, making sure they don't wake her up, you know, so she can sleep. But I always watch movies, and there's a lot out there, man. Like I'm pretty sure I still have a couple of thousand to watch, you know. But some of the movies are good, some are great. I mean, some not so much, you know. And it's just I still watch them, you know, because I'm like, you know what, people put their time into this. I'm gonna at least sit through it and be like, okay, you know what, it's been watched. I mean, but I appreciate everything that comes out though, man. I mean, you know, it's if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, obviously, you
Mhm.
know. But you know, this is something that you guys love and definitely take appreciate doing. So we appreciate that, you know, from you guys. I mean, just being able to make these movies and hopefully, you know, more coming. You know, we'll see. We'll get a sequel to this, or we'll see what else comes out of this. You know, but man, I appreciate you guys, man. I mean, I know Braxton couldn't get on there this morning, man. I was kind of hoping he'd jump on here. But is there anything you want to tell us, bro? I mean, of course, you know, you guys might be here in Houston or in Texas at the Houston Film Festival. But anything you want to say before you wrap this up?
You want to promote Spook Island, Spooky Empire?
Yeah, so anyone who may be watching that's in Florida or coming to Florida during the fall, maybe to come to Horror Nights, we will be at Spookala October 6th through 8th. That's happening in Tampa this year. And then we'll also be at Spooky Empire. That's pretty big. We do see a lot of people come from out of town for that event. That is the weekend right before Halloween. I can't remember if it's the 26th, that it's whatever Friday that is, the 26th or the 27th. That'll be there. We'll also be at a film festival here locally as well, right across the street from Universal on September 16th, 15th. We're playing at 5:30. That's called Phantasm.
And at Spooky Empire and Spookala, we will have booths set up. So anyone that wants to come by, we will have the Blu-ray for sale. We will also the Pumpkin Man will be in costume. I will be there, full costume, 8 hours.
Oh, man.
And then we'll also be selling our merchandise, like the shirt Janae's wearing, the hoodie that I'm wearing, and our favorite, which is the Pumpkin Man hot sauce.
Nice.
We have Carolina Reaper Pumpkin Man hot sauce, and it is the best hot sauce I've ever had.
A little hot. For those who aren't too keen on really spicy, it is a little hot, but the flavor that goes with it is so good.
Yeah.
Like they're really good on Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. That's like the best thing I've had with it yet.
100%.
And I was gonna ask if they use pumpkin in it, but no, right?
No.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We were originally gonna do a pumpkin or ask them to do a pumpkin.
Yeah,
hot sauce.
they had talked about doing a pumpkin recipe. But then he started thinking, he's like, horror, extreme, Carolina Reaper. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Maybe we'll have a line for a pumpkin hot sauce too, for those who aren't too keen on Carolina Reapers.
Yeah.
No, you see, and that's one of the things. Let me ask you real quick before we wrap this up, guys. When it comes to movie snacks, I mean, what's a go-to, man? What's some of the snacks you guys got to grab?
Popcorn. I gotta have a popcorn and a Coke. That's just the way it's always been. That's the way it always will be. I'm not a candy person. I like buttery and salty.
I personally like candy. My go-to is usually Junior Mints.
Man, okay, cool. You see, I'm a popcorn guy, but I put jalapenos in my popcorn,
Oh wow.
and that blend. I don't know if you guys ever eaten. There's when you barbecue, there's a sauce. It's called jalapeno butter.
Hmm.
And that thing is extreme, bro. But I mean, I started eating started putting jalapeno in my popcorn, and man, it's on another level. Like it's good. It's a good blend. Like it'll leave you'll be happy.
I gotta
Believe
give
me.
that a try.
Yeah, at least put a little bit on there so you can try it, man. But I definitely, I'm like every
I
time I
love
tell people,
spicy, so I'm
yeah,
good. Like let's
yeah.
do it.
You see, and every time I tell people about that, they're like, dude, jalapeno, and I'm like, yeah, bro. I asked for like 4 cups because they give you little small ones,
Yeah,
and I just put them on all corners and I mix it, and man, I just start chomping, man. Like
that sounds great.
the only thing is don't rub your eyes because I learned that the
Yeah,
hard way.
I think everybody who likes spicy stuff has made that mistake at one point
Yeah,
or
yeah.
another.
Believe me. It caught me one day. I had to watch the rest of the movie with one eye closed, man. It was crazy. But guys, I appreciate y'all's time. Of course, the movie is gonna be being dropped. I'll put the link on the video. I appreciate your time. Like I said, man. I mean, it's awesome having you guys on here, and hopefully we'll catch up again. If you guys make it to Houston, we're definitely gonna be there, man. So we'll catch up there and get to hang out with the Pumpkin Man and staff, of course.
100%, man. Thank you for having us.
All righty, everybody. Of course, once again, the Pumpkin Man being released. Check the link on the video. This is Spider once again, Coming Soon podcast. Till next time, follow up.